All right, I'm just gonna do this. I don't even know what channel I'm streaming on. I think I'm streaming on No Race, but I have like the little prompt for the Mind of Dante channel up here. I'm gonna watch some GDL, man. I'm waiting for Adam and Green. We're gonna do a little like live stream in a little bit. I'm gonna have to turn this off and switch over to Skype because he wants to use Skype. But I wanted to do this live and just get in the swing of things before this goes down. John Swin, where you at, buddy? John Swin, come through, man. Please, please, we need you, John Swin. The world needs this man. If you guys haven't, subscribed to John Swin's channel, go subscribe right now. He's a guy really connecting all the dots. He knows all the names. He knows all the hoaxes. He knows what's really going down. Very great information. Most of what, a lot of the Tapiot crew is, going off of is a lot of the connections that he's laying out. He's doing great work over there. Better than I could do. I'm glad he's doing it because connecting dots and names is different from what it is that I do. I try to connect principles in general, generalized principles. So if people are coming up with, like ethno-nationalism, or they're coming up with ethno-pluralistic ideas, I want to connect these ideas to the originators of these ideas. Where do these ideas come from historically, geographically? And maybe that will reveal some things to certain people through some historicity. So that's my focus. But anyways, defending the Goyim is the other task at hand, man. Defending the people from a racial supremacist group. Now, I don't want the Goyim to become a racial supremacist group at the same time, because then it becomes, hypocritical. But at the same time, you do have to recognize that these people are walking around with a book that, defines the intent to commit harm, basically. And we're going to go over that a little more, my position on some of what Brendan O'Connell believes in my discussion with Adam Green, because I think it needs to be discussed. He's throwing a lot of shade at the crew, and no one's really, saying anything back. So we could, break down some critiques of his analysis a little bit, which it's not scathing or anything. It's not like we hate the dude. It's just, come on, man, come on with some of the shit. Let me actually open up the chat before I watch this video, because I think I want to know who the hell gives a damn. David Packman. This is one Jew who knows about Alexander Dugin, so I gotta listen to this guy. I try to troll him. I try to, throw the Goyim Defense League type of mentality down his Twitter feed and, get him to respond to some of my videos, because he's a really harsh critic of Trump, which is needed. You need some critics of the power structure, people, even if they might be on the left. The people who are attack the left as if the left and right paradigm actually mean anything, in the conspiracy context. Well, I guess they do now. Nowadays they do, but, we should know better, really. When it comes down to it, everybody should know better than the left-right paradigm. The Trump MAGA people, a lot of them don't even really care about Trump. They'll forgive everything that he does, just because they have the Q mentality. The Q mentality tells people that Hillary Clinton was the devil, therefore Donald Trump is only the lesser of two evils. And I talked about this on one of my live streams that I deleted. Or I didn't delete, I just put it into hiding because it gets demonetized and people talk shit. And so I'm like, all right, you people don't want to see my video, you don't want me to profit off my video, you don't deserve my video. It's for me, myself, and I only. But anyways, the Q thing, it's a mentality. It's like, it's at the baseline of a lot of people's thinking. And it's this mentality that we're going to accept anything that Donald Trump does because the worst could have been, Hillary Clinton and whatever she was planning on doing. rather than understanding that he's completing the plan. And so what I'm trying to get people to understand and realize what the plan is and why he's fulfilling the plan. A lot of us have our different positions on what the end goal is. I don't know about a lot of the ethno-nationalism, what they think is actually happening. Like when I had my discussion with Brandon Martinez, he was calling me, he was saying I was too conspiratorial, and I guess in my outlook. And I don't know if he knows where I came from or what my background is and researching stuff like of this matter. I don't think a lot of people know because I never really talk about it. But yeah, I get into all kinds of crazy stuff. I'd never really touch upon aliens or anything, but everything that I think about that's possibly part of the conspiracy isn't, baseline political machinations. I get into the crazy stuff. I don't, like I said, I haven't really talked about it, but I think the fact that I don't talk about it lends people to believe that I'm just a political analyst, which I've never actually been. Like I said, I'm just, trying to focus on the cultural aspect of what's happening and, leading off with this idea that it's meant to happen, that these people are duplicating ideologies that have, found their basis in the past. But anyways, I just got off on that tangent because David Pakman's face was right there. So let me pull up what I was meaning to pull up, which was the live chat. Live chat, where the hell are you? I always forget how to do this when I'm live for some reason. It's not working. Come on. I don't know why it's taking so long. Maybe it's because I have this in like the 64-bit HD mode, and it's really overkill. I don't need to go that high on the OBS software, but I think it runs smoother on playback. I don't know. We'll go see. 6 people watching, so no one really gives a damn. Probably because the title is random, no race live smoother on playback. I don't know. So that doesn't lend people to want to go watch what I'm saying. What's going on? I was trying to go to Creator Studio. Everybody, get a damn YouTube channel. Do what Handsome Truth is doing. Go out there, get a YouTube channel, get a presence, have your face out there. You're already being recorded. Everything is, your cameras, your phones, your refrigerator, they're listening to you. I don't know if that's, it's like this. Sometimes I know that's absolutely true. I know that, I'm looking at my phone and I've been having a conversation with some random person about something stupid. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting ads bombarded. I'm getting bombarded with ads, that are relevant to this conversation that I was having that wasn't being recorded to my knowledge. And everybody's probably had that experience. And, a lot of people that aren't woke just dismiss it. But for us who know what's capable, yeah, we realize that they're tapping into our phone lines and then, sending this data back across the airwaves. If you see me looking off in the distance, it's because there's like Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses walking around, and I just, don't want any of them coming up to my door and having to leave. So I can look out my window right here and then see what the hell's going on. I'm not going to show you. I don't need you knowing where the hell it is I live. Let's go. Getting off on these damn tangents. See what your chat's is saying. Live streaming. Hey, what's up, Tefra? Count Roscoe. Left, right, built into divide and conquer. Yeah, left, right, white, black. These dualities, the duality complex, dualism. Some aspects of Zoroastrian should be considered dualistic, and I got into that, and people think that I'm getting off the Jewish question. I've never got off the Jewish question. I'm just, trying to expand upon the Jewish question to ask questions that people don't ask. Like, okay, if it's the Babylonian Talmud, then why are we not focusing on what Babylonian culture was? And that's something people never even think to ask. They just focus on the whole Jewish idea. And I'm like, oh, well, we got to look at Persia, Khazaria, Kazakhstan, a lot of these areas who existed around these time periods and what they were thinking. And yeah, you do run into Rome a lot. You run into specifically Byzantium and, you know, Second Rome, Constantinople. Okay. Then you pay attention to like what's going on in the media sphere right now. Like, Richard Spencer, I just did a video last week on Richard Spencer talking about how we want to reconquer Constantinople because that belongs to us. Erdogan doesn't deserve that. And then you recognize, I don't think people realize how connected Richard Spencer is. I think he's a tool. He's put out there on purpose to sort of galvanize and you know, condense and consolidate certain ideological frameworks that in the media right now. And then I just don't think that people, like, I think he's high up. If he was a Mason, I would consider Richard Spencer like a 33rd degree Mason. I don't know what type of circles he's involved with, but from what I can tell that he knows and what just the cycle, I got a damn fly flying in my eyes. The psychological games and ticks that he plays, he's very calculated, and I think it just goes over a lot of people's heads what he's actually saying and what he's historically talking about doing. And once I started, you know, going down, looking into the Cyrus the Great route and what that could possibly mean if Donald Trump was the reiteration of Cyrus the Great, you start running into people who talk about Cyrus the Great. And I ran into Jason Reza Giorgiani, and he's recently I talked about this guy to what do you call it, to Brendan O'Connell. I brought him up, and I don't think he ever did any research, but this guy says that he has connections to he had connections to the Trump campaign, and he was, you know, having conversations with Steve Bannon. I should pull that up right now. What was it? It was a New York Times, which is, you know, the whole entire Trump administration constantly is being in conflict with the New York Times. New York Times was the first paper to release this idea that Donald Trump had his campaign wiretapped, and then they retracted that statement that they had wiretapped Trump, or they denied it on CNN. So that was pretty much January of last year. I think it was January 20th, the New York Times article came out, and within like a couple of weeks, they had somebody, some bald-headed guy, he was retracting the statement the New York Times had made about basically ever wiretapping the Trump administration. So I saw that as being weird. I saw the fact that here it is, New York Times literally wrote that they were tapping Donald Trump's phones, and then they go on CNN and deny it, and then Donald Trump calls them fake news from that moment on. And from that moment on, no one trusts anything the New York Times is gonna say. So, you know, fast forward, or I think, yeah, you fast forward a couple of weeks, you find New York Times covering Jason Reza Giorgiani and his connections to the alt-right. And so they go in, they go undercover, right? And they get this guy saying some crazy stuff. Here we go. Let's watch. I don't know if this is going to show exactly the part of the clip that I want to hear.
It's going to end with the expulsion of the majority of the migrants, including citizens who have Muslim descent, generally speaking. That's how it's going to end. It's going to end with concentration camps and expulsions and war.
Okay, so he's talking about what's going to happen in Europe. It's going to end with concentration camps, expulsions, and war. Now here this guy is. He's connected to Richard Spencer. He's saying he's talking with Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, I included this article. It was about Steve Bannon and communitarianism. It was pretty interesting. Bridget sent this to me. Or was it Leche? Some people I follow on Twitter, you guys should follow. Weird connections. You know, I don't expect to find this stuff. It's just weird. And it's painting an overall picture that, yes, these people do want to implement, you know, sort of a fascist dictatorship that's in charge of the white nationalists. I know the white nationalists don't believe that, but I think they're being set up, and I told this to Brandon Martinez. They're being set up to actually set up the Reconquista, the reconquering of Europe, via the identitarian groups that are stationed all over Europe. And this is Giuseppe Manzini's grand plan of terrorism, but it would be domestic terrorism, and domestic terrorism for a good cause, which was the cause of getting rid of darkies. And I get why you would want to do that. I'm just saying they wanted you to get to that point. It was always part of the plan. A lot of people don't like me to say that was part of the plan, but look at what they see, like Jay Dyer getting kicked off. They see, Alex Jones getting censored. And I'm just saying, okay, what are they going to do in response to that? You got to think like in terms of chess. If people are moving this way, which way, how are you going to respond? How are people going to react? Not even respond, but react based on their identity. If an identity is like the role that you would play on a chessboard. A rook can only move forward and backwards, or left to right. A knight can only do an L. Sorry, I'm just like swatting a fly. A pawn can only move 2 spaces for it, or to attack diagonally. You understand? So these are the identities for each of the pieces on the chessboard. Well, the white identity, or in general, or the white pieces on the chessboard, or the British identity, which would be like, maybe let's say like a bishop, or the Russian identity, or Slavic identity would be like a queen on the chessboard. These they have certain things that they can do, and certain ways they can move and position themselves. And what I'm saying is these people are playing a grand chessboard type of game, and we just got to look at what are the end goals. What were some of the technocratic ideas that these people had that they wanted to set up, like Aldous Huxley and Charles Darwin. Not Charles Darwin himself, but some of these people that are connected to these families. What's his name? Alexander King of the Club of Rome. These people who actually planned on keeping Africa second world, keeping people destitute, and never really helping out, the third world, have any place on the geopolitical scale. What do these people think? What type of families did they come from? What type of ideology were they raised in? And you go back, yeah, they were completely raised in an ideology that was about supremacy. Now, I'm not going to go all Tariq Nasheed on people and say that, every white person is a white supremacist. But I'm going to say people need to realize that, yes, some of the people at the top come out of families where that was their practice. And you can't get away from that. It literally is part of the culture. And, I talked about this on my last live stream. I showed some of the stuff that the Dutch did. Somebody brought it up in the comment section. So Zwarte Piet, or Black Pete, that's practiced in Denmark, and there's like, yeah, they have look at the Corsican flag. It's 4 Moors' heads. How do you think they came up with the flag? It looks like this. How do you think they came up with a flag that looks like that? The Rosy Cross with 4 Moors' heads. And then it looks like that now. It used to be their eyes were covered like this. How do you think they came up with that? That was their culture in Corsica, which is off the coast of Italy. Okay? This is what they did. They went around killing people and blinding them from their past history. I was just on like a white nationalist live stream, chatting away earlier today. And I forgot what I was getting into, and I said something about like how my nationality, I'm American, but you would call me black if you saw me, but my mom's Japanese. And the guy was like, you should hate your mom. It's like, why the fuck would I hate my mom, man? Why would somebody even say that to me? You should hate your mother. You should hate your mother for doing that to you, betraying her race, betraying her kind. I'm like, I think I came out fine. I'm glad she met my dad. I'm glad we have a happy family. I grew up in a happy household. I'm glad that my dad, filled me up with books and information and, history. I'm glad. Okay? I'm glad he didn't, give me this culture that told me that I should want Jordans instead of an education. He didn't teach me that stuff. He never told me to, say the N-word. He said that, why the hell we fight all these years to get people to stop saying the N-word for you to turn around and start saying the N-word. That's just stupid. And that was common sense to me. So you don't ever hear me saying, nigga! You don't hear me throwing that word around so loosely as some people do, and then, get mad if somebody that's not a nigga says that word. You're not going to hear me, getting caught in that hypocrisy. If you say that word, then why would you get mad if somebody else says that word? I just recognize, yes, there is some historical context to that word, and I don't think it has much to do with black people. And in all actuality, it has something more to do with a Roman, Niger. But, that's another set of history that we have to go into. All right now I'm making a video about Jerusalem and all the different Jerusalems that people have thought of, in the Middle Ages, and what was Jerusalem and what was it symbolically? What was this idea of a place like Zion in the context of, the biblical text, the ancient Greek text, or the ancient Egyptian, ideologies. And it's like it popped up all over the place. And then you have there's a tale of this guy named Prester John. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Prester John. But it was basically this tale that was going around, and it made people want to search for something. They wanted to go find this guy, Prester John. And I'm just going to dumb it down real quick because I want to save it for the video. But they wanted to go out and find this guy who would, basically solidify all their ideas about what Christianity was, okay, and what it had meant, because they lost a lot of the history. Something happened, something, some antediluvian event, some catastrophic event which separated, medieval Europe from the ancient world. And so a lot of people are using allegories and these tales to like paint a picture about the past. They didn't really have a complete idea. It wasn't completely, coherent or focused on what actually happened in the past. So they're searching for the roots of Christianity. They're searching for the roots of, a lot of these ancient religions. And they're coming up with conclusions and, coming up with these allegories and tales to tell the tale of, past generations that they didn't really understand. And so like the story of Prester John is about how these people went all over the world, trying to find this guy, and ended up in Ethiopia. They ended up in Ethiopia, and that's where they found the most likely candidate for this ancient Christian religion that they had been practicing, or at least they thought they were practicing, but they weren't exactly sure about. And so I'm getting into like who these people are and who they actually were, and it's like, oh yeah, we're talking about these Romans roaming around the earth. But it's a very specific Roman. It's the Persians, okay? And so this is a very deep history, but you see the parallels everywhere. Like, what is a Jew? What is a Roman? What is white? What is black? What is it? What do these terminologies mean? People are searching for the meaning, deep in somewhere, and people are content with just whatever, whatever's the easiest explanation. Well, I could just look at you and tell you're black. That's an easy explanation for a lot of people, and I'm telling people the history is not that easy, and people just use whatever parts of it that they want to paint whatever picture they want. But anyways, what the hell was I even going to talk about? I was going to talk about talking about freaking the GDL, but then I got into Jason Reza Giorgiani, and so I got off on a freaking tangent. That's what how my brain works. Anyways, start connecting all these random ass dots. Yeah. So this guy, He's connected to Richard Spencer, which is connected to Steve Bannon. We was Kangs and shit. See, that's the other one, man. We was Kangs. No one's saying we was Kangs. I'm not saying we was Kangs. I don't have this we identity. There's no we. There's only me. There's only you. This idea of we is the thing that I'm fighting. Because this idea of we, which is a book, which was written by a Russian. Thank God to Lark from Texas to, you know, bring this up. It's a dystopian novel about, in the future, these people who come up with this idea of we. let me read the synopsis. We is a dystopian novel by Russian writer Yevgeny Zamyatin, completed in 1921. The novel was first published in 1924. So when you're talking about we was Kangs, you're also saying that we was Kangs. That's what this whole identity of white nationalism is about, is we. Instead of I, it's about we. Let's read the plot. The setting, well, let's read the setting. We is set in the future, a D-503, a spacecraft engineer lives in one state, an urban nation constructed almost entirely of glass, which assists mass surveillance. Okay? Yeah. The structure of the state is panopticon-like, and life is scientifically managed by F.W. Taylor's style. People march in step with each other and are uniformed. There is no way of referring to people except by their given number. So everybody's got a barcode. The society is run strictly by logic or reason as the primary justification for the laws or the construct of the society. Right? Logic and reason. Who's Mr. Logic and Reason? Stephen Molyneux, right? The #1 white nationalist recruiter. The individual's behavior is based on logic by ways of formulas and equations outlined by the one state. Okay, so 1,000 years after one state's conquest of the entire world, the spaceship Integral is being built in order to invade and conquer extraterrestrial planets. Let me just pause this. Hopefully I don't get off too much of a tangent, but if you've seen this video by Truth, what is that? What are these people? Truth Stream? Is it Truth Stream Media? The guy that Aaron Dykes that used to work? Yeah. Watch this video because they just came out with it yesterday. A technocratic global government of the future is here. And you have this Russian guy, and he's talking about the inauguration of the first head of Asgardia, the space nation. Yeah, so this sounds like we right here, and it's in real life. It's really happening. There's so much shit is going on that there's so much to keep track of that is hard for a lot of people. So I'll come back to that in a second. But here it is. Here it is. The spaceship Integral is being built in order to invade and conquer extraterrestrial planets. Meanwhile, the project's chief's engineer, D-53, begins a journal that he intends to be carried out upon the completed spaceship. Like all other citizens of one state, D-503 lives in a glass apartment building and is carefully watched by the secret police or Bureau of Guardians. Asgardians. Literally, that's what these people call themselves, was Asgardians. Anyways, but more like Asgard, like in the Norse mythology, like Thor. Asgard is not a place, it's a people. Yeah, that's what the Israelis say too. Let me keep it rolling. Bureau of Guardians. D-503's lover, O90, these people all got numbers, so weird, have been assigned by one state to visit him on certain nights. She is considered too short to bear children and is deeply grieved by her state in life. So she's basically, you know, 2 clicks away from becoming an incel. She's like, my bone structure, it's too weak. No one wants to fuck me. O90's other lover, D-503, and her best friend is R13. Like PG-13, a state poet who reads his verse at public executions. While on a signed walk with O90, D-503 meets a woman named I-330. I-330 smokes cigarettes, drinks alcohol, and shamelessly flirts with D-503 instead of applying for an impersonal sex visit. All of these are highly illegal according to the laws of one state. So this book is before Brave New World, but you could see like it's basically Brave New World. Assigned sex roles. And what's funny is you have like in our culture like stories like Handmaid's Tale, which kind of harkens back to like an ancient Germanic like culture, but it's also, you know, set in this time period. I don't know if you guys have watched Handmaid's Tale on Hulu, but if you haven't, you should watch it, because it's basically what the white nationalists talk about. We need to protect our birth weights. If things get too heinous, we need to, you know, have these systems set up in place to where we can manage people's birth rates. Well, I'm like, well, you guys aren't original. That's straight out of this book. That's straight out of Brave New World. The reason you're coming to this conclusion is because you've adopted this identity and this role of white, and the idea needs to be perpetuated that this is white and white is good. And even if that isn't exactly how these people plan on, you know, carrying out the agenda, you guys are speaking the language of the agenda. The reason you think it's good is you think it's for the greater good of your race. And so that's amazing to me. It's amazing to me how they can convince people of the eugenic plan that they had all along, as long as they can convince people that dysgenics, or the idea that mixing people together, is a bad idea. Why? What do we have? We have statistics to tell you. We have crime rates. We have, just look at them. Look at them darkies and their big noses and their fat lips and their dangerous tendencies. We need to get away. And so what are you going to do? You go into the we setting. We. You get convinced that that is where you should go. What I'm telling you people is you're setting up these dystopian futures that these people wrote about over a century ago. And they don't even realize it because they're too busy stroking that ego, stroking how great we is. We was kings. We was intellectuals. We was whatever the hell it is that you think you are, that it's great. Meanwhile, we work at Walmart. We make 20 grand a year. We are hillbillies, but we are better than you. It's that supremacism ideology. I don't care where it comes from. If it comes from Jews, if it comes from black people, if it comes from Asians, if it comes from white people, I don't agree with any of that supremacist ideology. I think it is fostered in the sense of inferiority. There's a little inferiority complex that you got, right? It's this little guy, little man syndrome, and out of that grows this huge ass delusion of grandeur. That's, you know, ego that tells you that you're greater than you actually are. I just want people to be real. I don't care what delusions of grandeur you have. People, and I think that's kind of the problem with the internet. The internet foments delusions of grandeur. It can tell people that their importance is reflected through their subscriber count or something like that. And, you know, that's dangerous. People get heads like Brendan O'Connell. Oh, that was too easy. I had to. Hold on. Let me see the chat real quick. Then we'll continue on with this we talk. Nick's gonna know. White neighborhood is the best neighborhood. Yeah. White neighborhood. I'm not saying there's bad neighborhoods. There's all kinds of bad neighborhoods. And a lot of them might have a lot of black people in them. But I'm not going to say that it's bad because of the black people. I'm going to say it's bad because it sucks. I know that's tautology. I know that's me, you know, basically rewording the same thing. But if I say that it's because of race, then that's racism. If you attribute something to race, then you're automatically always going to have things categorized through the filter, through the lens of the racial identity. And that only serves one agenda. This agenda. The we complex. Okay? So I got to get people to get out of the we thing. Get out of the race thing. It's what I named my channel for. But it's really hard to do because on opposite ends, people are, you know, this is the battleground. They feel like, oh, I have a purpose within this main battle if I'm fighting the racial conflict war. Because it gives people meaning, gives people like some inherent like story or dialogue that they can tell to themselves that makes what it is they're doing out here on the internet meaningful. A lot of people aren't hip to that game, and they're just focused on like you know, like political drama like what Omarosa is saying about Trump. But then the other half of the internet I see is like, you know, this ethno focus thing. It's a lot of people. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The people who identify as black have been doing it for the longest time. But now you have the white response. No more white guilt. No more guiltiness. It's time for pride. Okay, to be proud of what it is that you are. People, I'm just saying, people don't know what it is they are. They have no freaking clue what it is they are, but they know how to be proud of it. They know how to, you know, pick up a gun and defend what it is that they think they should be defending. And I'm just saying, well, here you have all these arms dealers waiting to fulfill your dreams for you. Just, you know, here's however much money you think it costs to buy this AR-15 to go out and, you know, do the right thing, whatever that means. And people are doing that. They're gonna do it. And what it does is it gives power to the structure that's in place, and that's the police state. So we're trying to avoid civil war here on this channel. I know the people are confronted with the idea that, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to just sit back and allow these people to flood my country? No. I want you to, like Brandon O'Connell says, get involved with the political process, to sharpen your tools of your intellect, get involved with, you know, understanding the arguments from both sides. And people are throwing around isms too much. They throw around the isms if it's like certain isms are pejoratives. Like, you know, I do, you know, I like to generalize about certain isms. You know, it's like socialism is bad historically. Yeah, fuck socialism. I get it. But you don't just say that, you know, anytime you hear certain, like, trigger words that qualifies as somebody being an advocate for socialism, when they might not actually be an advocate for socialism. They might be an advocate for a very specific type of socialism, and they don't even realize it. Like Fabian socialism, okay? Or communitarianism. You think it's socialism, but it's not. It's really more like communitarianism. And so I'm trying to enter that word into the lexicon, because you see more communitarianism nowadays than you do any other type of isms, culturally speaking. Communitarianism is behind most of this we ideology. Okay. Separating people into their group identities and making the group identities important. Well, man, yeah, if you're a Jew, that's a great idea, right? Because then you have some ideological basis to stand upon that will protect you in the sea of other identities. And some identities shouldn't be protected. Like, you know, there's all these white nationalists that understand this argument completely when dealing with the Muslim question. They say, well, Muslim isn't a race. Muslim's a religion. It's an ideology. It's a civilization. And so we need to go after it on those stand grounds instead of, you know, anytime you criticize a Muslims or Islam, you get called a racist. Yeah, the same thing should happen towards Judaism, and the same logic should be applied towards Christianity. Of course it should be. But then when you think about the grand scale picture of what that entails, then that means that they're going to get rid of all those religions. If you apply the same logic to all these religions, each one of those religions will have to fall to the wayside. Each one of them. Because they'll all be, you know, sliced and diced through the scrutiny of hypocrisy. That's just what's going to happen. Anyways, getting off on all these damn tangents. Anyway, you guys say one thing and then I get spin off in like 100,000 different directions. I got way too many tabs open. Yeah, let's read this. Spencer uses communitarianism. What would Dugin do? Yeah, what would Dugin do? Exactly. And so there needs to be, I haven't seen Dugin, but the last person I saw talk about Dugin was Lauren Southern, and she went to go interview him, which is interesting, right? Lauren Simonson, the I guess second generation Jew that she is talking to the neo-Bolshevik who's connected to Richard Spencer by the hip. Why do you think that is? Why do you think she's off in, you know, Southern Africa? She can be internally compelled to go cover these stories, or she's paid to. I think it's a little bit of both. Faith Goldie. Faith Goldie also her contemporary, her best friend, her best buddy. Faith Goldie's over here running for mayor of Toronto right now. Do you think she's going to win? Do you think the ethno-nationalist Faith Goldie's going to win? Oh, you bet she's going to win. Faith Goldie's about to win that election. He's about to be the mayor of Toronto. Freaking Drake is going to be saluting Faith Goldie. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's going to go that far. But she's going to get the recognition and the optics. And a lot of ethno-nationalists are running for Congress right now. They're doing way more than the black nationalists are doing. They're just too busy damn complaining about ethno-nationalism getting popularity. And so you have this dialectic working. You have, on one side, you have globalism rising, right? The globalism of multiculturalism. It's bubbling and seething. But, you know, these wedge issues that these people think they're going to use as leverage to propel themselves up to, you know, Congress or the Senate or something, I don't think they're going to get that far. But I think the people who will get further are, you know, give it 10, 15 years, are the ethno-nationalists who are out here on YouTube promoting their ideas, and their ideas are spreading to all the youth, and it, with good reason. The more that these people talk about their black victimhood or their gay victimhood or whatever victimhood that they got out there, the more these people hear, well, I'm being victimized by your system too. So there's just a whole sea of victimization going on. But what I see happening out of this, the confluence of victims identity, is everybody's basically getting converted over into Judaism. They're getting converted. Everybody's that's complaining about the victim identity or the oppression of the other is basically becoming the Jewish identity. They're becoming a victim of society. Look at you. If that wasn't my master plan of Kabbalah, I mean, I don't know what is. Look at that. Let's look how synchronistic and beautiful it is at the same time that it's freaking crazy, scary, and disgusting. That they can use this ideology and have people adopt it because of what the ideology inherently, you know, it's like a fire. It sets the fire of victimization around the world. Like how people should react to being oppressed. What should happen in the cycle of being oppressed is through your role, through your identity. That's a crazy system. Or what roles you should have according to your color or something like that. And it's just amazing me. I hope I'm not losing people. I'm just ranting. It's all off my head. It's all good. See you around, cuh. Peace out, yo. Don't embrace who you are. You are a Jew. LOL. Get the fuck out of here. No, I'm just saying you're acting just like the Jew. I hope that doesn't, you know, come off wrong, but you're telling people that you need an exodus out of your culture and that, you know, you're being oppressed by your neighbors. That's what the white nationalists do. You sound like the story of Moses, okay? Talking about infiltration, talking about we need to infiltrate groups, and this is what Richard Spencer says, we need to infiltrate these organizations and take them down from the top. Well, what did Moses do? What is Romulus and Remus story about? The story of Rome. That's the exact same story. So I feel like there's these archetypical movements and stories that people adopt. They flow into these identities and these roles, and they don't even realize that, you know, they're just enacting you know, the roles of society. And this is why I think people think astrology has so much weight, because it says that via the date of your birth, the date that you were born on, that you have a specific role in destiny. And it's the demography of your body, not the demographic of your nation state, but the demographic of your body has a destiny. So that has a lot of appeal. It tells you that you do have a role. But I'm just saying people are picking up, you know, this we identity and this we role, and I'm just logically working out, you know, where it flows, where it goes. Where does it go? It goes only in one direction. major themes in this book, Dystopian Society. The dystopian society depicted in We was presided over by the benefactor and is surrounded by a giant green wall that separates citizens from primitive, untamed nature. Well, what side of that green wall do you think they're going to put my ass? I'm probably going to get sent over to the primitive, untamed nature side. All citizens are known as numbers. Every hour in one's life is directed by the table. Okay? Talk about astrotheology. The action of We is set at some time after the 200 Years' War, which has wiped out all but 0.2% of the Earth's population. And so I think that's like exactly the entire population or the number count of the Jews. Right? 1/10 of 1% of the Earth's population is Jewish. So anyways, it's like 0.2%. I guess that's 20%. The war was over a rare substance only mentioned in the book through a biblical metaphor. The substance was called bread. Call it sunlight if you want to. Is the Christians gladiated over it, as in countries fighting conventional wars. The war only ended after the use of weapons of mass destruction. So the one state is surrounded by a post-apocalyptic landscape. Right? Sounds like Fallout. Fallout, Sticks, Axe, and Hammer's favorite game. I swear, sometimes I listen to Sticks, Axe, and Hammer and I'm like, dude, do you really just want to live in Fallout? I think that's what he wants to do. I think he's really like the Antichrist or something, and he's just pushing us towards living in Fallout. I don't know what the hell his deal is sometimes. There's the whole support Trump. He doesn't support Trump on everything, but he doesn't criticize Trump over any of the scandals or anything. He won't touch the scandals with a 60-foot pole. You know, he just... Every Trump supporter won't touch any of the scandals with a 60-foot pole. You notice that? They won't even go after it. They don't care that he's had like 3 mistresses while he was fucking his wife or anything. They don't go after that. And then that's all the other people, the left, the so-called left, ever focus on is the scandals. I'm just like, man, what kind of world do I live in? All you're ever going to focus on is these, what the other person isn't doing, right? What is up? The We prison. The We prison. Yeah, we need to get out of the We prison and go into the I. And it's a scary road to walk. It's the what do they say? The hard path is, you know, like walking on a razor's edge, you know, walking the path of the individual, of a singular person. Because people are scared to be by themselves. People are alone. They're afraid of the dark, you know. There's some like, I don't know, some physical fears that are built into, you know, people themselves. Some things that are just inherent in us. You know, I think people are always going to be afraid of the dark. But the fear of being alone is one of those things that I think people just got to realize. You are alone. You are alone. Okay? You are alone. You will die alone. You came out that womb alone unless you're a twin. Okay? But still, even as a twin, you're a single entity. You're alone. There is no we. There's no forest. There is only the tree. Okay? We develop these words to, you know, basically contextualize a subjective concept of quantity when everything is the one, the unity. Okay? But if you think there's multiple unities, then you're just going off in the wrong direction again. Okay, so we have people coming up with the multiple unity theory, and that's where we get, you know, my forest is better than your forest mentality. And I'm just like, nah, man. Those great scholars, those great thinkers, the people who came up with the United States Constitution realized that, hey, man, if you want some protections, if you want to not be group prosecuted, you don't want to be thrown in internment camps or be guilty by association and only guilty for your individual actions, you need to have individual rights. And so they wrote that damn Constitution, and now people want to throw it away because if they feel like if they don't uphold this idea of we, that they're going to lose, I don't know, everything. everything that means anything, they're going to lose the whiteness factor. Right? The thing that makes everything great and wonderful. And I'm not going to say that, I'm not trying to knock people. I'm just saying that there's a lot of things that stem out of that ideology that justify a lot of freaking evil. You can't have I with a bunch of different races. Yes, you can. And there aren't any different races. Ooh, hot take. Hot take. No, the way I look at it is, yeah, there is different races, but they're not white and black. That's not how you draw the line. That's just how these Masons wanted you to draw the line. Okay? So you gotta be specific. And I got accused of being like this guy, Franz Boas. Greg McCarran was calling me that the other day. He was calling me Bose, and I was like, Bose, like B-O-S-E, and then he's like, oh, no, it was Boaz. Francis Boas race theory, I think it is. I'll just type that in and see what pops up. Franz Boas. Oh, it's spelled with an S, okay? So this guy, he was a German-American anthropologist and a pioneer in modern anthropology who has been called the father of American anthropology. His work is associated with the movement of anthropological historicism. Studying in Germany, he was awarded the doctorate of 1881 in physics while also studying geography. Anyways, let's get down to his whole take on race, because this is kind of what I wanted to get at. Oh, orthogenic versus Darwinian evolution. He's basically... Well, I want to get a different synopsis of him before I go into this, because I'm just something I really want to tap on. Widely considered to be one of the greatest, most influential anthropologists ever, Franz Boas was a German-American scientist, was also known as father of modern anthropology, blah, 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 blah. I was trying to look for his position on race. Franz Boas. Let's see. Yeah, let's look at this. Okay, when racism was respectable, Franz Boas on the insatiability of human types. Racism remained potent until in the 1920s, but ideas about race were changing, particularly among intellectuals. Almost without exception, social scientists and scholars in the 1890s assumed that race was one of the central ways of understanding human beings. But a profound change in American thinking occurred in the first 2 decades of the 20th century. A new philosophy that today might be termed cultural relativism began to influence American intellectuals and their students. The emergence of this philosophy in the U.S. owes a great deal to Franz Boas, a German-Jewish anthropologist. So I got accused of being a German-Jewish anthropologist type, who taught at Columbia University from 1896 through the 1930s. In his essay, The Insatiability of Human Types, delivered at an academic conference on race in 1911, Boas boldly argued against assumptions of innate racial inferiority, insisting that culture, not nature, explained differences among people of the world. Boas students included the anthropologist Margaret Mead and the writer Zora Neale Hurston. Okay? So here this guy is. He's not an academic. He's not credible. Clearly, he's not credible. He's Jewish. When we try to judge the ability of races of man, we make a silent assumption that ability is something permanent and stationary, that it depends on heredity, and that as compared to it, environmental modifying influences are, comparatively speaking, of slight importance. While in a comparative study of physical characteristics of races that are as distinct as the white and the Negro... Oh, you know what? Hold on. This is very intriguing, but I think Adam Green is like trying to hit me up for a conversation. No, he's not. Okay. Bam. Goy Power. Holler. You guys want to get with Goy Power? You got to be a Goy. Sorry. We'll go back and going back to this. Bra 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 bra. Where was I? Okay. While in a comparative study of the physical characteristics of races that are as distinct as the white and the Negro, or the Negro and the In the Mongol, this assumption might be accepted as a basis for further studies. Its validity is not so clear in a comparison of the mental characteristics of branches of the same race, when, for instance, it is claimed that certain types of Europe show better mental endowment than other types of Europe. The assumption is made that these types are stable and cannot undergo far-reaching differences when placed in a new social or geographical environment. Okay? Nature versus nurture argument. So if you put a black guy out of the environment where Jordans and beer and weed is important, then they might actually start behaving differently. Holy shit, that's fucking radical. No, man, we need to get back to they're born that way. They're destined to be that way. That is all they're ever going to do. You can't even test it if you if you don't even attempt to put them into a different environment. But there's people that don't want that test to ever happen because they need to maintain integrity. Now, I don't think it could happen with religion, with dogma. Okay, so this is how I think when they talk about the Illuminati want to get rid of all the religions of the world. I think they wanted to get rid of the Abrahamic religions. The Abrahamic religions were set up in this triangular formulation between Judaism, Christianity, and Islam to fight each other, to take each other out. It was always destined to be that way. And I've already ran through my theory on how that's what happened in China, and that's how China ended up communist. They went from Confucianism through Taoism, and they went to Buddhism. Respectively, that would be Islam, and then you would have Judaism, and then you would have sort of Christianity. And you can mix up the orders, but in functionality, what that means is you have religions based around basically one sets down a law, one sets down, you know, like a moral fiber or moral character, how you're supposed to respond in sort of an aristocratic environment, and the other is the rebellious mentality, and they all together in that, you know, in close confines, they end up, you know, creating sort of a communistic sort of super state with an aristocratic dictatorship at the top of it. That's what China is right now. They ran through that. And so when I see all these Abrahamic religions running through that progression, I'm like, you guys are going to end up the same way. And that's what I think it was destined to happen. So religion is basically the playground where all this is going to be taking place. That's why I focus on the religious aspect of a lot of what's happening, is because that's the basis for a lot of, you know, how people feel about things morally. And so, you know, and historically also, you know, where they get their sense of identity from. Everybody that's against the Jews, most of them call themselves Christians, right? They're inherently offended by the Jews because of their Christian identity. I'll talk to Adam Green about this, you know, because I know he's a Christian. He self-identifies as a Christian. I tell people I'm not a Christian, but when I say that, I mean, like, I'm not like a pagan Roman, which I think has, you know, sun worshiper, which I think is what people are doing when they practice a lot of modern day Christianity. They don't know that they're worshiping the sun or Mithras or something, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're practicing, you know, this pagan Zoroastrian faith, and they just think they're being Christians. Like, nah, technically you should be going to church on Saturday and not Sunday. There's a reason you go on the Sunday, because you're worshiping the goddamn sun. But you know what? I don't want to ruin people's lives with that information, but it's like they don't ever want to look at it. And so, you know, when I see them, you know, getting all this other stuff filling up their limited space in their brains, and, you know, they go out, you know, preaching all this other crap on the internet about how we need to go, you know, kill every single Jew. I'm like, yeah, you're just fulfilling the plan, people. You're just fulfilling your role. You're doing what they have destined for you to do. And so, anyways, people don't like hearing that shit, and especially the people I see with the little Jew, the shifty Jew, the shifty Jew icon. They always get mad. They type in all caps. Let me go see what's going on. Yeah, typing in all caps. Yeah, Lucifer equals light, the Lord of Light, which was also, I think, in Game of Thrones, they called the Lord of Light, right? That's what it's called. And so I'm getting all this Lucifer motifs going on when I watch Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is a trippy ass show, man. It's so trippy. And I like Adam Green did this, you know, parallel between Game of Thrones and the Third Temple destruction. And like I said, the video I'm working on right now, I'm jumping off on a bunch of tangents, but it's about the Third Temple and why I think, from what I've been able to research, these people on the Western Wall are literally praying on the side of the Roman fortress. There are documentaries all over the internet that a lot of people just never even look at. They go over the fact that these Jews, these people out of Poland, you know, sitting their head, dipping their head into this wall. They don't even realize that that's not the wall or of you know, the temple, but or the fortress, but that's just the wall of like the Roman barracks, basically. So here these people are praying on the wall of the Roman barracks, basically, and they don't even realize it. And that's what's crazy. But then I also try to, you know, expand upon that in this video I'm making and say what Rome are they actually praying to? What version of Rome? Are they praying to first Rome, second Rome, Byzantium Rome, or third Rome, which is Moscow? Moscow is third Rome. Which Rome do these people have themselves praying to? These Chabad, Lubavitch, Hasidic Jews. Who are they praying to? I guarantee you they're praying to third Rome. They don't realize it. Third Rome was destined to take out Islam, and that's why they're set upon destroying that temple, the Temple Mount. Okay, they're fulfilling a prophecy that they don't even know they're fulfilling. They're just basically dupes. That's what they all are. They're dupes, following tradition, following what they think is right, but they've been duped this whole damn time to just fulfilling the plan of these Romans. Oh, it's so funny for me to know what I know and know what the fact that these people are laughing at them. Let me show you this clip. Let me screen share. Oh man, this clip, man. And this is why, you know, they come out with flamenco. They want people to know. Hold on, let me see this. Is this screen capture? All right, this is screen capture. So I'll show you the first clip of this video that I'm making, so you guys get an exclusive. That's so crazy, man. Recent projects. I don't know what I'm gonna name this video. I was thinking about calling it "Where is Jerusalem," and I was gonna go into a little bit of the Ethiopian Lalibela church and the possibility of that being some of where their original Christianity was. But you know, and it makes the Bible true. It's not like I'm saying the Bible is fake. What I'm saying is there's so many different versions of the Bible that you guys aren't exactly sure what Bible these people are referring to. So like the Ostrog Bible, the first Russian Bible, they say the Kremlin is Jerusalem. And I think that goes over a lot of people's heads what that video was actually saying on my channel. The Ostrog Bible, the Russian Bible, it talks about the Kremlin as if the Kremlin is Jerusalem. Okay, and I'm not saying that I think the Kremlin is Jerusalem. I'm telling you that these people talk as if the Kremlin is Jerusalem. Okay, so when they send all their Hasidic Jews over into Israel to pray on that Western Wall, what are they doing? They don't even know what they're doing. I don't know if me saying this is gonna, you know, end up saving these Jews, or if I'm preventing World War III by just telling you people this. But I'm trying to. Hopefully that's what I'm doing. Hopefully I can prevent goddamn World War III from happening by just telling you people that these people are liars and cheaters and they've been lying this whole time. Maybe that's why it says in the Bible that the synagogue of Satan, blah, 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 I have loved thee. Why does it say I have loved thee when it says the synagogue of Satan? Why does it say that? Behold, the synagogue of Satan. There's a key part of that, you know, that I think a lot of people have never really think about. Behold, I will make them the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come to worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Why would it say in the Bible that I have loved thee? Well, I don't know. There's a hypothesis on my part, but you would probably say I have loved thee if you're using people, and they're gonna, you know, they're your people, but you're gonna throw them to the wolves, and you're gonna get them, you know, killed in a war that they actually have no business being part of. Like I said, I think it's destined for these people to get, for something to something bad to happen in Israel. But the main goals, yeah, it is to get rid of the Dome on the Rock, but not to get rid of the Dome on the Rock so they can rebuild the temple. It's just to basically complete the destruction of Islam. And so that's really what the goal is. This always been what the goal is. But, you know, I think they put these Jews there to think that, you know, they're doing something else. So, hey, I love you. Thank you for taking one for the team, basically, is the main goal behind this. But anyways, I wanted to start off showing you my video, which is a clip of Vladimir Putin saying this.
It's easy to say it's not our fault. It's the Russians. They intervened. They interfered. It's like anti-Semitism. The Jews are to blame. You're an idiot because the Jews are to blame, right? And
why are all these people laughing at him saying that the Jews are to blame? Why do you think that is? Huh? Why do you think these people are laughing? Because it's a big damn joke. It's a big damn joke.
You know what's...
See? They know all that stuff, story about, you know, they know the whole story. I'm convinced that the Russian Orthodoxy, they know the whole plan. All these people are KGB, whatever. GRU, they know the whole story. They know what the Bible's about. They know who they've set up over time to take the fall and take the blame for a lot of these situations, and they know that they stand to benefit from it at the end of these times. Okay, like we said, we've been talking about the Belt and Road Initiative and how a lot of this, you know, this Russiagate stuff is. Everybody's been saying Russiagate is really Israeli gate, and I'm like, yeah, in a sense, but Russia's really the one that's going to stand to benefit because of people's hatred of Israel. And I'm not saying the hatred of Israel isn't unfounded. Everybody should fucking hate the stuff that Israel does. But people then think that they're supposed to jump into the arms of Vladimir Putin. From SGT Report to Alex Jones to Jerome Corsi to Ron Paul to Rand Paul to Oliver Stone to Edward Snowden, who's currently in Russia right now. They think that Russia's the way out of basically United States hegemony and, you know, military industrial complex hegemony. They're all the so-called good guys being built up over the last however many years are convinced that Russia is the way we should go. You think that's a coincidence? You think that wasn't designed? I'm telling you, the people, that was always the design. It was always designed for Third Rome to flourish. Well, at least since the Bible came out. So at least for the last 700 years, they were meant to stand on the top of this time and day and age. Okay? So that's why they have Donald Trump as Cyrus the Great. Okay? Because if you haven't realized yet, we're talking about Aryan history. We're talking about Iranian history, Persian history, okay? Babylonian Talmud, Babylonian history. We're talking about these people. If you don't understand how the Russians are connected to that, let me just show you something real quick. Russian, or we could call it Cyrillic. I spelled that wrong, but whatever. And Sanskrit. I know people don't like you know, reading, so I can show you how basically Old Serbian language is basically like an Indic language, and even Albert Pike knew that. He knew that these Indo-European languages are all basically part of the same family. But how is that possible? It's possible because of the Aryan migration, because these people out of Iran went through India with their culture. I've said this 100 times. Came back up, and they are what you call your Slavic people. Okay, your Mongol people. Okay, that's them. It is them. They do look like white people. Yeah, that's true. They went all over the world. They went to Egypt too. They made tombs of themselves in Egypt. Okay, they went everywhere. But yes, they are technically Aryan or Iranian. Okay, and that's where a lot of that religion, that architecture, it comes from. Bam! But let me see if I could find that. It's Greco-Roman culture. Greco-Romans. I mean, you think the Romanov family just decided to call themselves Romanov for no reason? You think it's called Tsargrad because it has some sort of, it just happens to sound like a Caesar? No, yeah, that's, that's their culture, people. They know it. I've put it in videos. They even have videos of Vladimir Putin getting sculpted like a Roman soldier or the head of a legion or something. Yeah, that's them. They went into Britain. They went into Germany. They were all over the place, infiltrating different cultures, but then at the same time sort of spreading this ideology of basically like a Hindu type of belief set where it's based around caste, military caste, basically, or even in that sense, racial caste. Okay, it's not like it really matters. Not like there's any difference. So it makes complete sense, the grand scale things of why these people would be fostering these ideologies through people like Richard Spencer, through people like Jason Reza Giorgiani. Where is he at? You know, people don't get it. Like, fuck, I wish I didn't have so many damn tabs open. A lot of this stuff, though, is relevant to videos I'm making. I hope there wasn't titties on that picture. We'll go back to Handsome Truth doing his damn thing in a second. Yeah, Jason Reza Giorgiani and Steve Bannon, and yeah, it's all connected, man. It's all connected to these people's ancient culture, which people should just stop. When they say Illuminati, when they talk about the Illuminati, people, every time they see this symbol and they the all-seeing eye, they think that this is coming out of some, you know, just Eastern Germanic or British cult. I'm like, nah, go to the Kremlin. Go right there to the Kremlin. Okay? Talk about the all-seeing eye. Okay? Bam. Okay? It's right there. That's what you call the Talpio symbol, actually. It's literally called the Talpio. Oh, man. The double-headed eagle, where east meets west. Okay? The sun doesn't set on the Roman Empire. The sun is right there. Okay? This is what Freemasonry is about. It's about their empire. Byzantium. Yeah, it technically is about white supremacy, but they don't think about it like white people. They think about like white is like Lucifer. White, light, okay? Light, white light, okay? But they get people to adopt the ideology of white through the identity of white people. Which is basically a relatively new concept, and people don't realize how new the concept of white people is. Okay, it's more about dividing light into 7 different colors, if anything, because that's what happens when you focus white light through a prism. Okay, through a prism, bam. Okay, I mean. Let me go find out if Adam Green's hollering at me, because he probably is. He's probably waiting on me. I wasn't trying to flake on him, but I didn't know I was going to do this. I just went 15 minutes over my designated time slot. What's up, dude? Oh shit, you Skype ID. Oh shit, let me type to him real quick. He's mad at me. I'm live streaming, I gotta tell him. You guys can see that I'm just typing to Adam Green. My bad, breaking it all down. And anyways, I'm just laying down the basic for what I think. I could be wrong. I could be damn wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. People don't come on here. When people prove me wrong, that means they're trying to find the information that contests what I'm saying. Please do. I need that information. I need that so I can get even more clear with what it is that I'm trying to, what conclusions I've came to. So yeah, by all means, prove me wrong. I want to be wrong. I don't want to be right about what's going on. These people. Where's that puppy at? My puppy over here was pissing on my couch earlier. We were supposed to go on earlier, and then I went over because this little dog I got. Say hi, Jack Jack. Oi. Jack Jack. Jack Jack. He's like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Oh yeah. You over there smashing that pussy, huh? I mean that cat over there, that other cat that I got. Jumping on his head and stuff. What I call smashing the pussy. Anyways. Yeah, you know what? I don't even know if I have Skype, dude. To tell you the truth. He wants to do Skype because of, do I? I rarely, I had it at one point in time. I just don't know if I still have it. What the hell? I might have deleted it because I don't like Skype at all. Skype is annoying as hell. Well, I just noticed that it's glitchy. It's really glitchy. Trusted Microsoft App Store. Oh shit. Oh wait. Do I have it? I called one guy. Oh yeah, I did. I tried to get in contact with Cultured Thug. I don't know if you guys know who Cultured Thug is. I'm under... I have no idea what to do with this. Hey Adam, hold on, let me see. What am I supposed to do? I'm probably not supposed to give out my everything. But let me type in Adam Green, because I really don't know how this works. Austria. Adam Green, are you in Austria? Probably all one word too. No more news. How do I find you? No more news. Oh, I'm telling you guys all my information. I'm telling you my real name. You guys know my real name now. You guys are exclusive. Yep, this video is going in the trash because now I'm going to have stalkers finding me. My real name. Or is it? Oh, he's sending me stuff now. Skype, shut it down. Yeah, let me shut down this thing. Peace out, people. See you on Adam Green's stream.